Please feel free to adjust the playback speed to 1.25 or 1.5 depending on your preference.
Active skill. Skill, level 2. Mana required to activate, 5. When this skill is activated, your movement speed will increase by 40%. During its activation, 1 mana will be spent every minute. My movement speed has increased. The rate had climbed up from 30 to 40%. The difference in 10% was huge. Well, the leveling up of the skill seemed appropriate, since he used the dash skill quite often. Skill, high-grade dagger technique level 1. Passive skill. Mana required to activate, none. Exclusive to daggers. You used daggers for a long time. And now, you are able to wield daggers more proficiently. 33% additional damage will be applied when using daggers. Additional damage effect when using daggers. A dagger-specific skill had been created as the result of him continuously sticking to daggers, it seemed. I guess wielding other types of weapons will be inefficient for me now, huh? Of course, it also meant that the effect when using only the daggers would be even greater. Besides, he was already well used to using daggers. He also had grown fond of the poison fang of Kasaka and wasn't planning to switch to another weapon anytime soon, so this was a huge boon for him. And finally, Jin-Woo's eyes gleamed in great anticipation as he checked out the details of the last new skill that appeared. Skill, Vital Points Targeting LV1. Mana required to activate, 70. You've learned the most optimum way to attack with your daggers. This skill will search for the enemy's vital points and inflict fatal damage. This skill was also exclusive to daggers. The most optimum way to attack. Now that he thought about it, the attack he used to land the final blow to Kong Tae-sik and on that last zombie felt roughly the similar to him. Should he say he definitely felt it in his bones? The moment the dagger pierced through, he knew instinctively that the battle was over. Ah, so that was me aiming at the vital points, huh? To think, something he did as an accident would become an actual skill, and he'd get to use it whenever he felt like it. His heart was now beating like crazy. To Jin-Woo, who had no other method to attack other than to swing his dagger around this way and that, this attack skill vital points targeting was like the sweet, sweet rain falling at the end of a long drought. Very nice. He leveled up and got new skills. It had only been the first day, yet things were going really smoothly already. Inside the offices of the White Tiger Guild, located in the same district, the chief of the 2nd Division, An Sang-min, found himself shouting at the top of his voice early in the morning. Mr. Hyun. What are you trying to do here? Tomorrow's the day for the new recruits to start training, yet how could you have failed to book a single gate until now? Answer me, Mr. Vice Chief. The Vice Chief Hyun Ki-cheol lowered his head in embarrassment. My apologies, Chief. The thing is, there is a raid team that quickly bids for every gate ranked C opening up in our jurisdiction. What? Well then, why don't you just get them back with higher bids? Does our guild lack funds or personnel? Just what's the problem here? I tried to do as you said, but... Ha! How dare you answer back as if you did something nice? From the thunderous roar of An Sang-min, the entirety of the 2nd Division had fallen into silence. It sure had been a long time since An Sang-min blew his top to this extent. Just what kind of a place was the White Tiger Guild? It was called one of the top 5 guilds in South Korea. For that reason alone, every single employee working within its halls was, without exception, excellent individuals. The Vice Chief Hyun Ki-cheol too was a talented, sharp individual who performed his role well and admirably, having never committed a single error ever since he was hired by the guild. But to think, he failed to book a single gate when the new recruits were supposed to begin their training soon. This no doubt qualified as a big error. The 2nd Division that An Sang-min was in charge of did the roles of recruiting new hunters and training them, while the 1st Division took care of managing the schedules of the guild's main hunters. Please, take a look at this first, Chief. The near-tearful Hyun Ki-cheol pushed forward a notebook PC to his superior officer. What the hell? An Sang-min was about to explode once more, only for his jaw to drop to the floor after checking out a certain number appearing on the notebook screen. 250 million won? There is a crazy bastard who spent 250 million won on a single rank C gate? An Sang-min became utterly speechless. The best anyone could hope for, in terms of financial return from a gate ranked C, was only around 200 million won. Paying 250 million won was, simply put, being a hopeless moron who paid way too much. Originally, the bidding price of this gate was only around 70 million. But, when I raised the bid to 100 million, these bastards suddenly upped it all the way to 250 million, Chief. The upper limit for a single C-rank gate set by the White Tiger Guild was 100 million won. One could now clearly see why Hyun Ki-cheol was feeling rather aggrieved at the moment. Who are these bastards? On Songmin's hands typed on the keyboard quite rapidly. And soon, the search results filled up the computer screen. Just as Hyun Ki-cheol had said, one raid team was snapping up all the rank C gates appearing in this district with nonsensical speed while paying an equally gobsmacking amount of money. What the hell, who are these crazy bastards? This area was the White Tiger's backyard, their jurisdiction. At first, On Songmin thought of the possibility that other guilds were possibly interfering with their work. No, hang on. That's not possible, is it? There was no large guild stupid enough to start something with White Tiger openly in this fashion. Even if it was one of the 5 top guilds in South Korea, it would have to risk getting destroyed in return by clashing against the White Tiger. So, it's not a guild, then. In that case, who and why? On Songmin swallowed his saliva and accessed the information on this strange raid team and its members. The leader's name was apparently Yoo Jin-ho. First time I hear that name. It was On Songmin's job to scout new recruits for the guild. That was why he had remembered the names of freelancer hunters who had at least displayed a modicum of excellence in the past. However, this Yoo Jin-ho really was someone he didn't know. Okay, I'll come back to you later. He then proceeded to slowly scroll down the list of the team's members, hoping to spot any familiar names on it. And then, there was one. One name kind of stood out. Sung Jin-Woo? Sung Jin-Woo. Where have I heard this name before? On Songmin did his best to dig through his memory, until he finally recalled the incident of the dual dungeon from 2 months ago that had been the topic of a rather lively discussion among those who went there. Indeed, it was none other than the White Tiger Guild that went to assist the association during that event. Hey, Ki-cheol, do you remember that dual dungeon incident 2 months ago? The one where our hunters had to go and take a look? Yes, Chief. I remember. It's Sung Jin-Woo, a ranky hunter. I knew it. He wasn't sure of it, but well, he was proven right once more. On Songmin instinctively realized it, there was something fishy going on here. Not once did his instincts that activated only in these sorts of situations let him down. Never. On Songmin shouted out an order to the rest of the employees in the 2nd division. Everyone, stop what you're doing, and get me every single data and information on the hunters Yoo Jin-ho, rank D, and Sung Jin-Woo, ranked E. Right now. The responses from these excellent employees, when facing a dangerous situation regarding their own survival, simply exceeded one's imaginations. It wasn't for nothing that they were called the elites of all elites. Reports came in one after the other, fast. As it turned out, Yoo Jin-ho didn't possess any particularly noteworthy background that required an immediate attention. Disregarding the fact that he was the second son of Yujin Construction's owner, he could be described as ordinary, even. However, Sung Jin-Woo was quite a different story altogether. Since that dual dungeon incident, he's been involved in 3 more incidents, and he walked away from all of them unscathed? When On Songmin spoke in a questioning tone of voice, Hyun Ki-cheol quickly followed up. Not only that, he's a ranky hunter too, Chief. The first time Sung Jin-Woo and Yoo Jin-ho met was when the latter went for his very first raid. Only the 2 of them walked away alive. And now, these 2 had formed a raid team and were going around like a pair of madmen, clearing 2-3 dungeons in a single day. This definitely stinks. What could they possibly be doing in the dungeons? I wonder. Hold on. I remember now. There was a rumor about a really influential owner of a big company busy wooing S-ranked hunters in private doing the rounds, wasn't there? Yes, there was a rumor like that. And that Yoo Jin-ho is the son of a really influential owner of a company. Indeed, Yoo Myung-hwan, Yoo Jin-ho's father, showed some movements of wanting to create a guild of his own. It was one of the most tightly guarded secrets only a few in the world of hunters were privileged enough to know. If that was the case, then what Yoo Jin-ho was doing right now wouldn't be completely unrelated to that. Could it be? A single puzzle piece fell to its place inside On Songmin's head. If his guess was right, then it made sense. Seeing that rapid change in his superior officer's expression, Hyun Ki-cheol nervously swallowed his saliva. On Songmin spoke with more than enough confidence in his voice. This guy. He's definitely a reawakened hunter. A reawakened hunter, you say? Hyun Ki-cheol's eyes became round dots resembling a rabbit's eyes. But, On Songmin was sure of it. That's right. A ranky hunter was no different from a regular person. If there was an incident, then such hunters were as good as dead. However, this Sung Jin-Woo kept surviving, totally unhurt to boot, from several large-scale incidents that killed most of the participating hunters. Of course, he could be lucky. Sure. However, the third and last incident. The situation with this particular incident caused by the agent of the monitoring division, Kang Tae-sik, was rather different from the rest. The record said that a rank C mage combined strength with a rank B healer to defeat Kang Tae-sik. Bullshit. Hunters in the monitoring division all specialize in combat. If Kang Tae-sik was a moron, he'd try to dispose of the highest-ranked hunter with the low combat potential, the rank B healer first. You telling me that a rank C mage-type hunter managed to stop him by himself? The thing was, the mage-type hunters were weak against close combat-type hunters, even more so against the assassin types. Unless Kang Tae-sik underestimated his opponents and ignored the presence of the rank B healer, it might be possible, but the hunter with 3 years of experience in the monitoring division wouldn't make such a blunder, thought On Sang-min. The one who stopped Kang Tae-sik wasn't this rank C Song Chi-yeol, but someone else accompanying them. There was no physical evidence, but he was getting more and more sure of his guesses being right. Sung Jin-Woo now possessed abilities matching that of a high-ranking hunter after going through a reawakening process. Yu Jin-ho coincidentally took part in the raid and saw the abilities of Sung Jin-Woo. And now, Yu Jin-ho was testing out this and that in preparation to scout Sung Jin-Woo to his father's new guild. When he thought like that, everything seemed to click. This is a huge piece of news. If Sung Jin-Woo was indeed a reawakened hunter, then there would only be a few people, including Yu Jin-ho, who knew his true worth. Just who was Yu Myung-hwan? He wouldn't want to accept any wannabes and idiots. Definitely not. Not only that, as one of the founding members of the guild, too. This could be an excellent chance to snatch away a wonderful individual marked by none other than Yu Myung-hwan. If he fought and defeated rank B Kang Tae-sik, then his abilities should be at least B, no? The priority now was to snatch this talent before other guilds, no, Yu Myung-hwan, managed to scout him. Well, after the inevitable reassignment test, the competition would become really hectic, after all. Besides all that, even if Sung Jin-Woo wasn't as strong as he suspected, it didn't really matter. There were only a few reawakened hunters in the entire world, so the media's attention would no doubt be directed to this guy. And that would precisely be the kind of public exposure that no amount of money could buy. Whatever the case may be, On Sang-min couldn't afford to let this guy slip through his fingers. I wouldn't be able to do anything if he already signed a contract with Yu Myung-hwan, though. However, the odds of that was low. The proof was all those tests taking place in the C-rank dungeons. There is a good chance that they haven't decided on anything yet. Which meant, the White Tiger Guild had a real shot here as well. I shouldn't be wasting time here. On Sang-min picked up his coat hanging on the back of his chair and quickly put it on. Kichiola, let's go. He also didn't forget to mobilize his right-hand man, of course. On Sang-min was strict with Hyun Ki-cheol all the time simply because the former believed that no one was more suitable to take over from him than his current deputy. Meanwhile, Hyun Ki-cheol's eyes opened wider. Pardon me? Where are we going, Chief? What do you mean, where? We're going to scout a new talent, that's what. And you have to personally go to scout this new guy? Why not? Is there a law against doing that? On Sang-min retorted and hurriedly left the office, causing Hyun Ki-cheol to tilt his head this way and that, but still, he chased after the senior officer. Now this is so strange. It had been over 2 years since he became the vice chief, yet it was his first time seeing On Sang-min personally go out on a job. From a distance, 2 well-dressed men approached the location with a sense of purpose. One is On Sang-min, the head of the 2nd Management Division of the White Tiger Guild, one of Korea's top guilds. Beside him is his assistant, Hyun Ki-chul, a stoic man with sharp eyes. They arrive expecting the usual tension that surrounds dungeon raids, but what they find is strange. Outside the gate, several hunters are lounging casually. Some are eating. One is even dozing off. It feels more like a picnic than a raid. Confused, On Sang-min scans the area until Han Song-yi, a young female hunter, walks up to them. She appears protective and suspicious, demanding to know who they are. When she learns they're not part of the raid team, she warns them this is restricted space. Sang-min notes her attitude with mild amusement, asking if she's a hunter too. She confirms it. More importantly, she casually reveals that the dungeon is being cleared solo, by Sung Jin-Woo. That name grabs Sang-min's full attention. He tries not to show his surprise. He's inside, alone? He repeats in disbelief. Han Song-yi nods. Yeah. He said the rest of us don't need to do anything. On Sang-min exchanges a glance with Hyun Ki-chul. Everything they'd heard about Jin-Woo's rapid improvement and mysterious power seems to be true. Clearing a dungeon alone is no small feat, even for an A rank. They don't linger long. After offering a polite thanks, the 2 men walk away to observe from a distance. As they leave, Sang-min mutters to himself, "We can't let a guy like that get away." A while later, the dungeon gate shimmers and Yu Jin-ho walks out first, sweat on his brow. Behind him, Jin-Woo steps out calmly, perfectly composed. It's as if he'd been on a stroll, not battling for his life in a dungeon. Jin-ho offers him a bottle of water, and they chat briefly. Let's take tomorrow off, Jin-Woo says. Jin-Ho is confused at first, but Jin-Woo adds that he has something he needs to do. His job change quest is coming up. It's clear he's taking the next step in his power journey. Jin-Ho agrees, saying he'll just shift the scheduled gates to the day after. Then he adds with admiration, "Man, how are you so strong?" Jin-Woo shrugs it off with a smile. As the group begins to disband, Sang-min makes his move. He approaches Jin-Woo directly, business card already in hand, and introduces himself formally. Sung Jin-Woo SSI, I'm Sang-min from the White Tiger Guild. We've been watching your performance. May I have a moment of your time? Moments later, they're seated at a nearby cafe. Jin-Woo sits calmly across from Sang-min and Ki-chul, listening quietly as the guild representative speaks. Sang-min launches into his pitch. He explains that the White Tiger Guild is one of the 3 major guilds in South Korea. They've been tracking Jin-Woo's rapid improvement, especially since the Double Dungeon incident. He expresses deep admiration for Jin-Woo's ability to survive situations that kill others, and to emerge stronger every time. We'd like you to consider joining us, Sang-min says confidently. The guild would fully support you, gear, resources, and a team. Whatever you need.
We will finish this chapter here. Next chapter will be out soon, so stay tuned.